This AskReddit user asks, what is a tip that could one day save someone's life? Always guarantee your own safety before helping someone in a first aid situation. It might seem obvious, but it is overlooked way too often. For example, when someone is unconscious in a closed space and there are no direct clues to the cause. Always assume there is CO and the room isn't safe to enter. Try to ventilate the room and get the person out of there as quick as possible. But don't risk your life by staying in there for too long. Edit. CO equals carbon monoxide. And if you're saving a drowning person, it's best to go underwater. Curl in a ball and kick their chest as hard as you can to subdue them. If you don't, they could and probably will latch on and take you down with them. There was a video on Reddit last week of a guy trying to save another guy, and the video cuts as they both sink into the water. Totally happened to me when I was in high school. There were 2 drowning. Me and my friend went to help only to end up being pushed down. End up the 4 of us trying to push each other's heads just to stay afloat. Luckily someone with a boat came to rescue us pretty fast. This only happened like 5 minutes, but I felt so drained after getting rescued that it took hours to get the energy to even walk. Can attest to the panic-induced thrashing caused by someone drowning almost causing me to drown. In my case, it was my little brother at a pool party. I'd exactly how old we were, but I'd guess I was around 10 or 11, making him around 8 to 9 at the time. But he couldn't swim very well, so he was on a floaty and some kid pushed him off it to take it from him. In his panic he was thrashing like crazy. I went to help him, but I got shoved under him and kicked in the head like 5 times before I managed to shove him out of the water. Luckily for me it worked out and he didn't knock me out with the kicks to the noggin. If you see someone walking around without shoelaces on, in shoes that aren't slip-ons, give them space. Cross the street if you can. I've learned that after 15 years in NYC. See something, say something. Don't fall for that snitches get stitches. If someone tells you that, then make sure they get some. But also tell the something through a lawyer. Cops have a million ways to build a case against you even if you did nothing wrong. Make sure to have a smoke alarm, smoke detector in your bedroom, and the rooms leading to your front door or outside. They're cheap and they will save your life. You won't always be able to detect smoke or a fire, especially when you're sleeping. If you're the first person to be on the scene of an emergency, don't wait for someone else to call emergency services. Do it yourself. If 10 people assume someone else will do it, no one will. And someone could die. If you're unable to do it yourself, ask a specific person to call. Rather than saying, someone call 911 999, etc. That's the bystander effect. The more people there are at the scene of an incident, the longer it takes for someone to act because people will think that someone else will do something. Make way for ambulance. Don't be afraid to go to a psychologist. It's nothing to be ashamed of. I keep telling this to a friend of mine, but he keeps refusing. I try to help and listen, but in the end, there is only so much a normal person can do. If you think someone is following you, take 4 rights in a row. If they are still behind you, drive to the nearest police station. I always feel weird going home when we go from town to the mountain. Bunch of curves and a few turns. And we have been behind the same car the whole way. We get to our street and they finally turn opposite of where we are going. It's like, OMG, I hope they don't think we are following them. That's happened like 2 to 3 times in the last 5 years lol. Have used the put turn signal on. Check if they put the same one on. Then turn the opposite direction. If they turn to follow you, chances are pretty high that they are indeed following you. Usually a good idea to drive somewhere very public or the police department. Gave my wife this advice when there was a crazy guy FG with her on the interstate on her way home one night. She took the exit at the top of the mountain he followed, so she pulled a U-turn to get back on the highway. He followed again. Tried to get her to go to the police, but she wanted to just get home. Did tell her that if he kept following to drive past the house without stopping or slowing down. But he blew past her, honking his horn, screaming out the window about 2 turns before the house. INB4 you get in a crash for putting in the left blinker and going right. Spend 1/2 a day and learn how to perform CPR for 10 minutes. Saying this as someone who dragged an old lady from the water whilst holidaying in Prague and had to perform CPR that I'd learned in Army cadets training. EpiPens go into the outer thigh. Feel for the most muscly area with your hands because the needle needs to get through to the muscle. Hold it for 10 seconds. Then remove and massage the area while you wait for an ambulance. If you don't trust someone to be by themselves in that moment, don't leave. You don't have to be right there next to them or even in the same room, but if you don't trust them with their own life, don't leave even if they scream at you and call you names to try and make you leave. I'm sorry. I don't know the details. But for you to give a tip like this, I'm sorry. I am so sorry for whatever may have happened to inspire this story. An additional option, if you're not feeling safe in that moment to stay, is to find out whether your county has a mobile crisis service specifically for mental health. They are around where I live, and you can use them to have a team of mental health experts drive to you, to somebody who may be at risk of suicide, and evaluate them or transport them to a hospital for a psychiatric evaluation. If you feel your roommate is suicidal, hide any knife, any scissors, anything sharp in general. One of my roommate told me to do that because our other roommate was losing it. Put your DN cell phone away while driving. I don't think any of you will fall off a plane or something. But if you first do, don't aim at the water. Rather go for something that will slow your speed over a longer distance. Like branches or snow. And in the absurd case where you really have to go into water, feet forward. Maybe slightly bend it to reduce injury. That whole video was utter bullshit. Chances of someone unexperienced being able to fly their body in a controllable manner and aim where you want to hit the first time they try it are 0. There is a reason why skydiver training exists. And why wind tunnels exist. Realistically, if an average inexperienced person falls out of an airplane, they will end up tumbling in a fetal position until impact. If you ever feel like your life is not worth living anymore, reach out to friends, family, or anyone really. You will find that your friends and family will think otherwise. The best advice I ever got from someone was thinking back when things were really bad and realizing that in retrospect they weren't, and that I should always give a future me the opportunity to solve my today problems. If you think someone you know might be thinking of suicide, ask them. It's always better to ask and be wrong than the other way around. If you can't get a hold of them, the police can do a wellness check if needed. It's to help them, not get them in any trouble. Complacency kills. When it comes to heavy machinery, weapons, power tools, vehicles, and many other things, get complacent with it and it will take your life before you realize it. But complacency with many other things can kill some aspect of your life. Complacency with where you are in life can kill your drive and motivation. Complacency with who you are can kill your knowledge base from increasing or your life experiences from expanding. So many other way. Complacency kills. Never let yourself become complacent. You deserve more, better than what you have, and only you can provide it. You deserve a better you. Complacency can prevent that. Always strive for more. To increase yourself in some way. Financially, emotionally, spiritually. However, complacency will cause you to stagnate, and stagnation is death. Keep going. You deserve it. Throw a few bottles of water and a blanket under the seats of your car. You never know when you'll stuck in a bad situation. Edit. I didn't mean for the bottles to be thrown under the seat unsecured. Just an Aussie euphemism for you. Please appropriately secure your bottles under the seat to avoid accidents. And a simple cheap candle with matches. A candle can heat your car up at a shocking rate if it dies in freezing conditions. To save your child's life, if they start talking crazy, laughing or crying uncharacteristically or for no reason, just feel their forehead to check for a fever. Takes 2 seconds. But happened with my daughter once. She looked fine but was acting like something out of The Exorcist. When I felt it, she was burning up with something like a 103 fever. Could have been really bad if I'd let it go. And she was too young and or messed up to even realize what was really happening to her. Holy CP. Was it scary seeing her acting like that? Yeah, it really was. Here is the post I made when it happened. Thankfully, once you know and you're looking for something, you rarely find it again. For elderly loved ones. If they suddenly start talking crazy, even if they have dementia but are suddenly much worse, they likely have a UTI, which is simply fixed with antibiotics but can become very serious if left untreated. They don't experience the pain while peeing or normal symptoms like younger adults do. The sudden change in behavior or cognitive abilities is the most indicative symptom. If someone's having a coughing fit, choking, ask them, "Are you choking?" If they start cursing you for a dumb question, then they're not choking, or they just reply with whatever, and should be able to sort themselves out on their own. Keep an eye on them to make sure. If they can't answer you, start pawing at themselves, or stand up to leave, but can't talk, they're choking and you need to start first aid. My family are well used to me just mildly watching them cough and asking, "Are you choking?" I do not bang them on the back just because. Do not do anything you see Bear Grylls do on TV if you're stuck in an actual survival situation. Unless there are extreme circumstances that require you to keep moving or hiding, it is best to stay in place and use resources in your immediate area to build shelter and a signal fire. Search parties will always look for you in the last known place you were. So stay put. Venturing around can make you more lost, and it usually costs more calories than you can replenish while on the move. It may be gross, but the best source of food you will have if lost in the woods will be bugs. Overturn a log, lift rocks, and collect bugs. They are almost pure protein, and you will need protein in your body more than almost anything in order to stay alive. Wasting energy hunting animals that you aren't experienced hunting will cost more calories than you can replenish when eating them. If you don't have a gun or bow already handy, the process of creating a weapon to hunt with, combined with the hunt itself, is extremely energy costly. Eat bugs, find water, stay put, build fires. If bugs stink, move around uncarefully or are brightly colored, do not eat them, as they are likely poisonous. Bear Grylls is such a FG scam. I know someone who worked on his camera crew and it's all bullshit. He doesn't actually do any of that stuff. Ray Mears is so much better. Les Stroud too. Dude actually strands himself in the wilderness with nothing but items that a normal person would realistically have on them and some cameras. And a gun. One time. But that was because he was legally required to carry it due to the presence of polar bears. He decided that using it to hunt would be cheating, but did show the audience how to use gunpowder from a bullet to start a fire. If you have night sweats, go to the doctor. If you have lumps on your throat, armpits, or groin the size or bigger than grapes, go to Emerge. If you turn gray in the middle of the summer, go to a doctor. I had stage 4 lymphoma. Really, if anything changes weird, get it checked out. If you have been driving for a while and you find yourself or your mate in the car starting to micro-sleep, pull over immediately and get some rest. Approximately 20-minute power nap with an alarm to wake you. Their reward is being alive and not wrapped around some tree. Don't think, "Nah, it's just 10 kms left," or something like that. Only takes a few secs to die in a crash. If you're lucky. Here are some tips. The pre-drive nap. Taking a short nap before a road trip can help make up for a short night's sleep. The mid-drive nap. If you find yourself drowsy while driving, pull over to take a short nap of 20 minutes. Make sure you are in a safe location and remember you'll be groggy for 15 minutes or so after waking up. The buddy system. It's safest to drive with a partner on long trips. Pull over every 2 hours and switch drivers, while the other takes a nap if possible. Don't rush. Better to arrive at your destination safe than on time. Don't drive between midnight and 6 a.m. because of your body's biological rhythm. This is a time when sleepiness is most intense. Sleepy drivers are worse than drunk drivers. A drunk driver can often drive slowly and try to react. But a drowsy driver can nod off while still going fast. So, drowsy drivers don't always brake or swerve if something happens in front of them. Quote, "Don't do both." As someone who dozed off for just a few seconds approaching a stoplight on the way back from skiing and got in a luckily minor accident. So much this. I can't count now the number of times I've taken a 15 to 30-minute nap in a gas station or fast food parking lot. Even on the shoulder of the highway during rush hour traffic. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos.